What's up, ladies and gents, and welcome back to Tropico number 6. We are back here on a save file that belongs to my girlfriend because I am too lazy to play one myself. That's pretty much it. Now the ones I have are just not in a state where recording these guides makes sense. And speaking of guide, what are we doing today? Today we are going to look at happiness. What do you mean we are going to look at happiness? Well, what I mean is we are going to look at housing happiness in particular. And as you can see, it's not particularly high here right now, which is by design, by the way, so that I can use it for the guide. Makes sense, right? Right. Alright, so basically we are going to tackle what is housing happiness, what can you do to improve it, and let's jump right into it, I would say. So, first of all, what is housing happiness? Well, the housing happiness can be found in the happiness tab. Here, happiness, housing. And basically it describes how happy your people are with the housing situation. That means where they live, how they live, everything that entails to it. So, there are a few factors that go into the housing happiness. Now, the most important factor to keep in mind when looking at housing happiness is: are people homeless or do they all have homes? Because obviously, if you are homeless, you are not particularly happy with your housing. I think that makes sense, right? So we are going to look at, he is living in a shack. We are going to look at why that is. He's living over here. He does not have a job. But since he is living over here, we could, for example, fix this by building a house right here. Let's just quick build that. Put that to stack of iron. He will probably move in here, and I would say we have probably removed some of the homeless people. I haven't checked. There's possibly more, I don't know, but this is kind of how you tackle people being homeless. You can look at these guys, you can look at where they live, and you can just try to find a solution to why they are homeless. And, you know, then tackle it, make sure they actually have a home. He is homeless up here. So, you know, you can build a house up here, something, whatever. Demolish this. Quick build. Never move more people in here. Bam. Again, 2 more gone. So this is kind of how you tackle the first thing. Have people not be homeless. Obviously homeless people aren't going to be very happy with their housing because they have none. So this much makes sense. Now, again, this was the obvious part. Now, there are more, well, diverse things that you can do to increase the housing happiness, because obviously you probably already knew, well, if people have no home, then they're probably not going to be very happy with it. I think you probably already knew that, right? Right. Alright, so the thing we are going to look at next is the housing quality. Now, as you can see here, the bunkhouses, their housing quality is pretty poor at 32. That's pretty bad. And if you put them on stack them higher so everybody can move in, it goes down to 24. And 24 is pretty bad housing quality. So what you must do when you do this, and there is another option, but I will go into that later, But usually what you want to do here is look at the people that are without a home and see broke, broke, poor, broke, 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 poor. You know, they're all mostly poor. You can also look at the people and go into the homeless. And we see, yeah, we're all broke or poor. So,
Hola, how are you today?
they live in a shack. The thing with them is just they need these bad buildings. I mean, they're not technically bad buildings, but you can build these houses for them, but it still requires poor health. If they are broke, they can't move in here. So in order to have buildings for broke, you need to stack them higher. That puts the housing quality down to 24, which is awful. Truly awful. So what can you do to improve that? Now, the most simple thing is increase the budget. Now, if you increase the budget of where do we? That's right. Right angle. Where do we have some of the buildings we just looked at? Let's just look at this building again. Not this one. This one. It is at 32. If we improve the budget, it goes up to 40. From 32 to 40. That's pretty good. Now, let's look at the housing happiness. It is at 37, which is pretty bad. Let's improve the budget on every one of them. Play a little bit. And look at the housing happiness. It is still at 37, but you see a slight uptick. Whoops. Very slight uptick. But really only very marginal. So, as we can see, well, housing quality has gone up a little bit. And it has improved the happiness. Now it's up to 38, that's nice. So it improves over time, obviously, a little bit. And that's a good idea. So that's a way we can improve it. So you might be thinking, well, that's quite expensive. Are there other ways I can do it? Well, yes, and one of the things that is important to keep in mind when looking at the housing happiness is that people have houses either A, close to their jobs, or else they will build shacks anyway, or, like this guy, who's broke, or, which you can also do, I don't want that, build bus stations or bus garages like this and have them move from their living area to their job area, so that it's not as big of a deal if they don't have their home right next to their job. That actually makes them even happier if they have a bus garage or a bus station and a bus stop from their living place to their work job. And later on, once they have cars, and you know, there's the free cars for everyone thing, not quite sure what it's called, let's look at it. Is it so far back? Is it here? Free wheels, here it is. Even poor citizens can use cars. You can use this, and most of the citizens that have work, even if they are poor, can use a car and get to their job, which means you should build parking decks next to jobs. So these are two things that can improve general happiness, also related to housing. Because when we're not so unhappy that, you know, they need to move out, they need to move into a shack because their house is too far away, that's something you need to keep in mind. Another thing to improve, and this is really the single biggest factor for improving the housing quality, is this edict, free housing. Yes, it decreases capitalist standing, blah blah blah. I don't care.
Why should proud...
Free housing is totally 100% worth it. Seriously, use it, do it, it's worth it. It really, really, really is. I love free housing. The thing is, it is quite expensive, but as you have seen in my plantation video, you probably shouldn't have trouble with money, really. If you have efficient plantations and everything, you shouldn't have too much trouble with that, right? So you have the money, and then you set the free housing edict. What that means is every sort of house becomes available to every sort of citizen. And now what you want to do is, instead of building these bunkhouses with shitty housing quality, you can actually reduce the budget. You can get rid of these bunkhouses, and instead you can build houses, apartments. You can build mansions, modern apartments. You can build everything, and people can move in, and it drastically improves. Let me quickly do this. It drastically improves the housing quality and the housing happiness.
Sir, yes, sir.
I sometimes wonder about your final...
Yeah. If we, say, demolish this, build a few houses here. Let's just quick build that. I'm burning a lot of money right now. Quick building all this. Like, people can move in here even if we're broke. And this has 64 housing quality. We can even increase this. It increases the upkeep and it increases the beauty a little bit, which is nice, but it's okay. And this increases efficiency by 25%. If we do this, bam, 80 housing quality. That's great. We can even do this for all the houses. 80 housing quality. That's amazing. Instead of like 32 or 24 for stack them higher. So instead of 24 we have 80 housing quality. And 39, and it will tick up over time, tick up. This is the single easiest way, free housing, of improving the housing happiness. And then building good houses, obviously. You can also build apartments. You don't need as many, you know, build them over here and build them over here. And then have these apartments everywhere. And I mean, there are even better buildings later on that improve housing quality even further. But this is just great. Like, they love moving in here. You can do the electrification here as well. Goes up to 65. Obviously this is not quite as good as the house, but you know, whatever. And then if you're feeling totally ballsy and you are ranking in tons of cash, you can even do this and increase it to 96 housing quality just by building these houses. This is pretty incredible if you think about it. We moved from having these people live in 24 housing quality to 96 housing quality within like 5 minutes of playing. And we're up to 41 already. Started at like what, 37 up to 41. As you can see, tick tick tick, and then we start issuing these things and it goes up. Yeah, we're homeless, blah blah blah. Probably just don't have anything to live down there. What we can do, we demolish all this. Obviously they won't like that all this is getting demolished. Demolish. Build. this, build more houses. I'm burning so much cash here right now. Obviously you shouldn't quick build everything. You can save a lot of money by not quick building everything. It's just for the purpose of this guide. And we're still making money, by the way, despite doing all this. So that shows, even with the free housing and everything, this works. This is alright. Do we upgrade? Up the budget. They're now all having 96 housing quality instead of like 32 or 24 or whatever they had. And I dare bet can do the same thing up here, by the way. Demolish, 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 demolish. Obviously this isn't something you should be doing exactly this way. It does make sense to do this a little slower and a little more thought out. But you know, we're doing this for video purposes. Just showcasing how good this is. Why can't I build here? What the fuck? What? Why can't I build there? What the hell? Oh well. Then we won't build here, I guess. Quick build, quick build, quick build, quick build, quick build, everything. Ooh, now we're running out of cash. Yeah, I guess it's understandable that we are running out of cash here now. Since we're raising everything and building it anew and quick building everything else. I think it's understandable. But this is not usually how this edict goes. So, we blew all our money to kind of showcase this. Now we have a little money again. Do this, do this. Have these at 96 again. Well, network balance is now bad, but generally speaking, our housing happiness, 49! Look at this! That worked really, really well. We played like, what, 10 minutes now, and the housing happiness went from 37 to 49. Obviously we blew all our cash and we overdid it a little bit, but if you do this in a more organic way and not force the issue like that, you can have a housing happiness of 60, 70, 80, and it really doesn't get much better than that, especially at this stage in the game. I mean, the buildings only get better. The modern apartment, modern mansion, these are great quality. Great buildings. Oh. And yeah, that's really the main thing. Free housing. If you are having trouble with housing quality, free housing is the way to go. In my opinion, really. The easiest way of improving it. And honestly, I mean, we blew a lot of cash here. It was unnecessary, and you really don't need to have a maintenance up to 40. But it is still somewhat manageable. I mean, we should improve our economy a little bit here and really not have everything up to full. I mean, we could do this to 80 and it's good enough. But free housing is really not that expensive, especially if your economy is set up well enough and you know, you have these super high efficient plantations and everything. Yeah, we're too in debt because we blew everything. That's kind of a bad example now, but it works. It really does. And if you're not rushing it like that, I mean, now we're back up, so these are kind of the main things. A, look at your unemployed. Not unemployed. I totally haven't paid attention to any of this. Look at your homeless people. Make sure they have homes. Look at, do they have homes close to their job, or alternatively, do they have a way to get to the job, either via car or via a bus station, a train, and can they get there? Can they get to the job? And secondly, look at the housing quality and how to improve it. And free housing is really the easiest way to do it. Improving the budget and just, you know, generally. What citizens also like is if you put a little bit of a park in the middle. They do like that. It doesn't directly improve it as far as I can tell. I think if we remove the park, it's still at 80, and I think if we let this run a little bit, it's still at 80. But I believe it actually still positively impacts the citizens. So do it regardless. And yeah, really that's it. That's the easiest way of improving the housing happiness. And usually when you... it's up to 54 now, look at this. And usually the main goal to do this is, well, A, keep it high anyway, I mean it's in your best interest, but also if you make these electoral promises, then you should keep these promises, you should fulfill them, and that's an easy way of quickly jumping the points that you promised. So I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you can learn from this and improve your housing happiness as well, and until next time, farewell.